And after my dad pitched me his idea, internally I'm thinking this is literally the worst idea that has ever been on my desk. I think you have to have that combination of like independence, passion, and understanding that our climate is completely different than anywhere else in the world.
Welcome to Decision Points. I'm Scott Wood, and I'm here today with Chris Seals, co-founder and CEO of Still Austin Whiskey Company. Chris, thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy
And
to be
you
here,
drove
Scott.
up from Austin today.
I did.
In the rain.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see back there, it's a little cloudy and wet today, but
A little bit.
we appreciate you being here. So thanks for coming. So we talked about this a little bit off camera before we got started, but you're a new friend at True North.
Yep.
You've been reached out by Ty Sanders down in Austin.
That's right.
Yeah, so Ty, I guess, is a big consumer or friend of your whiskey company.
Yes, we got a lot of fans of Still Austin, and Ty was one, and reached out and told me about the podcast, and so really happy to be able to. We're growing a lot in Dallas area, so it was a really wonderful opportunity just to come up and talk with you.
Awesome. We're glad to have you. So let's start back in the beginning. Where are you from?
So I actually grew up here
In Dallas?
in Plano.
Okay, cool.
I went to elementary school at Houston Elementary.
Okay.
In Plano, and then went to school in Allen for a little bit, for middle school and high school a little bit. Then out to Sulphur Springs, which is East Texas. And then I moved to Austin in '93 to go to UT.
Okay.
And so I kind of fell in love with Austin and felt like that was the right place. I've moved away a little bit, but been solidly back now for the last 12 years. We started Still Austin. Started working on it 12 years ago, and city's changed a lot since the time that I lived there. There was no downtown in the 90s, hardly any. Now I guess we're gonna have the largest skyscraper in Texas.
Is that right?
It's amazing. Yeah, it's grown a lot, but it's great. I grew up here. My dad had worked in the beverage business here. There's a lot of great CPG businesses in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but he had been part of the team that started Sunkist in 1979,
okay.
And he'd done a couple of different brands over his career, but about going back about 13 years ago, he retired and then asked me if I would help him start a whiskey distillery. So that's how I kind of got worked into this.
Yeah, so I definitely want to come back to that. But so before we go there, let's just go back to Plano and Allen for a second.
Sure.
So brothers and sisters.
I got two brothers and a sister.
Okay, and where do you fit in the?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That tells me a little bit about you.
I'm also the most pessimistic.
I'm going to make some assumptions based on birth order.
Okay.
I guess the moves from Plano to Allen and Sulphur Springs weren't necessarily job related because your dad was pretty much working in Dallas-Fort Worth the whole time.
Yeah, just somewhat job, but mostly just wanting to, I don't even know exactly why my parents wanted to move out to Allen. They liked Plano, but they just wanted to be out in that area. And then Sulphur Springs was moving out to, my dad's job took us out there.
Okay. So I'm going to jump ahead and then come back. So what did you study at UT?
I have an undergraduate in English.
Okay.
And then did my master's after that in finance and economics.
Okay, at UT as well.
No, University of Houston.
Okay, all right, great, perfect. All right, so let's go back. Anything from early childhood? Obviously, you've got a really, I'm going to assume you've got a nice connected relationship with your dad. Otherwise, he wouldn't have reached out to you to start a whiskey company 12 years ago. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, what your childhood growing up and your relationship with your father and.
Sure. So my dad back, like at that era, pre-cell phones, lots of travel,
right?
And so I had I'd say a good relationship with my dad, but not a deep relationship, like with my dad. Even like after I'd moved away to Austin, I wouldn't say that we didn't have like necessarily a lot of, there was nothing that had happened that caused us to drift apart, but we were not very close.
Okay.
I really when he asked me to do this, I looked at it more as a way to just spend time with my dad.
Perfect.
Give him opportunity to bond. And I will say this, it is the best thing that's ever happened to us. Even though when he first came to me with this idea, I'm an economist. I'd been working as an economist for 14 years before this, and mainly in risk management. And this was literally the worst idea that I had ever looked at. It was so bad. And so I didn't think it was a good idea, but I did want to spend time with my dad.
Of course. Yeah. So was there anything from kind of, middle school, high school, even early college, just decision points or, inflection points or things that you learned that you were like, oh, that's a hot stove. I don't want to touch that, or I'm going to go this direction, or gosh, my dad's in the beverage business. I would never do that. Any kind of things that stick with you from that time?
You're asking a good question. I don't really have like a strong connection between that time and what I do now. My dad had always worked in sales and marketing, so very outgoing, very optimistic. Being an economist, I tended to be more critical, I think a little bit more pessimistic. And
perfect partnership.
And by the way, I learned that my dad had gone to all three of my siblings with the idea of starting a whiskey distillery, and they had all told him no before he came and talked to me. So I was literally the last.
You were the last choice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. Well, so you go to UT, you get your English major, and then do you go straight through and get your undergrad or your graduate degree?
No. So I put my English degree to work working in a coffee shop and slinging the bean for a little bit. I moved to Houston, and really I loved that. It's the first time that I'd worked in any kind of beverage anything. Worked for a company called Diederik's Coffee, which is like a craft coffee roasting operation, and then eventually felt like I needed to do something to be able to pay the mortgage, and so I went back to school.
So were you writing, like you were working at the coffee shop during the day or in the evenings, and then writing in the off time?
I was
trying to publish
the bohemian lifestyle.
Okay.
Like I mean,
you weren't even trying to publish.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just enjoying life.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, but
you're not commercial at that point.
No, not at all. Truly just enjoying life.
Yeah.
I would say like my neighbors, my 1973 Volkswagen thing. These were the things that I really enjoyed at that phase of life.
Yeah. And so were you in that phase, were you supporting yourself?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I was, supporting myself with a massive coffee shop salary, and so it was a lot of kind of subsistence, getting by. I lived in Montrose, which is kind of like the bohemian part of Houston, and back then I could get a apartment for $350.
Okay, perfect.
It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and so I was able to live on that.
That's good.
So I did that, and then I really probably my path is kind of a little bit circuitous because I don't know that I would have gone into economics except for one of the regulars at our coffee shop was a professor at U of H, and he offered me a job. And so I ended up going to work for him, ended up deciding to do my degree, a master's degree, and then worked for JP Morgan for a little bit. They have at the time they had like a small investment banking operation in Houston. And so I went to work there for a short time. Then we had one client that didn't do very well. It's Enron. And they
struggled a little bit.
Yes. After that struggle, they decided they didn't need economists working for JP Morgan at all anymore. And so I still needed a way to pay the mortgage. And I went back to my old professor, and I said, why don't we try to, he had done a little bit of side consulting. It's like, why don't we try to grow this consulting practice? And his name was Ray Dutch, or Raymond Dutch. And brilliant economist and very strong in quantitative economics. And it was that was where I got my first ever experience in learning about a brand. I was in that phase. My first endeavor was a bit of a failure because we needed to be able to kind of start to get our name out there. And one of the things we needed to do, like just a business thing, was just open a bank account.
Right.
And so I went to Chase and opened a bank account for, we named the company at the time Raymond, Dutch and Associates.
Okay.
But
you being the
associates,
yeah.
right? And they told me that they had a special where if you signed up for a certain type of bank account, they would give you a box of pins, like a writing pin, with your company name on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was free. And I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I'll be able to hand this out. And so I filled out the paper on like how I wanted the name to read. And the pins came in. But what I didn't know is that there was a limit on the number of characters for the pin. So it came in and it said Raymond, Dutch, and ass. And so I was the...
Understand? Yeah.
I still have one or two of those pins. But later, Ray moved.
I hope you at least have one of those pins.
I do. I do still have
one.
one.
A good memory.
Yes. And the first couple of years, it was just total struggle. Lots of hard work. I was like, I think I need to move to New York to be able to try to grow our practice.
And you've now graduated from U of H.
I graduated from U of H.
You went to JP Morgan. You're now doing the consulting.
As a consultant, and then moved to New York City just to try to network and try to grow our
And were you guys doing brand consulting, or what was the consulting?
Primarily feasibility studies and risk management.
Okay, so this is where the risk management comes in.
Yes. Yeah. How bad can something get?
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I got paid to figure out.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was really enjoying the work, but we really needed a lot more work just to make the business successful. And so I moved up there, and for like about a year, I was just, beating on doors, trying to get the business, get it to where we had a growing base of clients. We had one good client and a couple of clients that we really didn't want, but we needed to have. But we really just needed a larger base to be able to, you don't do a feasibility study every day. Right. So you need to have a kind of a growing base of folks. And it was just really, really hard. In the entire time I was in New York for a year, and we gained one client the entire time. But just before I left New York, Ray changed jobs and moved from the University of Houston to Oxford University in the UK. And all of a sudden, we were legit. we were real economists.
Interesting.
Every proposal, Oxford University professor Ray Dutch is on the front of the. It really kind of.
That's really interesting.
Raymond Dutch and Ass did not sell a lot. Yeah. But Oxford as a brand kind of had a certain cachet.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And legitimacy that came with it. And that was probably my first understanding of...
You were like, okay, wow.
There's some power behind a brand.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. So how long were you together with Ray?
We were together for 14 years.
14 years.
Yes. And then
that's when your dad approached you.
And then my dad approached me. Okay. And he actually approached me a little bit before that because I didn't give up my day job at first. But my dad approached me. I mean, he approached me. My dad's one of these people that has a 3-ring binder for every project that he's ever worked on.
Okay.
His office is filled with them.
Yeah.
They're his own personal internet.
Yeah.
Every single thing that he's ever collected is in a 3-ring binder. He's got like a little 3-ring punch, paper punch.
Yeah.
So when he came to visit me,
he brought the binder.
And
binder.
It's like, I have decided that I want to start a bourbon distillery, and I want you to help me. And
This is after he'd gone to your other 3 siblings.
after I didn't know
know this at the time.
I'm just like, I'm just in the discovery phase, right?
Yes.
So, and I used to write proposals for every project. And so I would always write like a little 1 paragraph at the beginning saying, I would entitle it always the same, Understanding the Problem.
Mm-hmm.
And after my dad pitched me his idea, and I mean, I'm looking at it internally, I'm thinking this is literally the worst idea that has ever been on my desk. It's so risky. Every risk is stacked. We don't know anything about starting a bourbon brand, much less making bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of time and money. Hopefully it tastes good. So all of these things are like flying through my mind.
Right.
But if I was going to write a Understanding the Problem paragraph in that moment, I would have said, my dad is bored.
Yeah. Yeah. How old was your dad at this time?
He, let's see here, he was 66.
66, his full career, retired.
Yeah. He's
pretty
ready
typical.
Yes.
Pretty typical.
I would also add, my dad is in a late life crisis.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
That happens too.
And I would also add to that, my dad wants to spend time with me.
Yeah. Which is great.
And so, what I said to him is what I did for a living. Dad, let's do a feasibility study. And I have done a lot. I've been hired many times.
At this point, you're 14 years into feasibility studies, and you're an expert.
I am, but I also know, like right off, there's a number of things that from the jump you get concerned about that are risks that are really hard to manage.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 99% of good ideas are actually bad ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought this is going to be one of those bad ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten paid many times to figure out how bad it can get and kind of look at like all of the risk factors
Mm-hmm.
and how they kind of can influence the outcome.
So walk us through that conversation, because clearly that's how you're wired.
Entirely.
And your dad is you said earlier, the optimist.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do it.
And so you do the feasibility study, and you're like, Dad, here's 25 things that are not going to work.
Well, see, I didn't think we would actually...
You didn't think it'd get commercial.
No. I was like, this is going to be...
We're just going to do a lot of whiskey tasting.
We're going to drink. Dad and I, we're going to travel.
Yeah.
We're going to Kentucky.
A lot.
We're going to go to Scotland. We are going to visit whiskey distilleries. We're going to pay people to tell us what we're tasting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take blending classes, and we're going to just have fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to bond.
Yeah.
And we're going to get my dad through his late life crisis. And then...
What's your mom think about all this?
She was like, your dad is driving me crazy and you have got to get him out of this house. So she's 100% behind it at this point. Okay. Yeah. And so we start doing that. And for about a year, that is all we did.
Mm-hmm.
We had fun.
Yeah.
It was like the year of goofing off.
Mm-hmm. Are you still consulting at this point?
I'm still consulting.
So you're still working.
I'm still working. I had gone through a divorce about a year earlier.
Okay.
So I had like half of my weekends. I don't have kids, and I've got free time.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's got free time.
Yeah.
And so
Let's go.
We're spending the time together. We're bonding. And after about a year, we were kind of at that time. I even like my best friend John Loftus was telling me, like, "Hey, aren't you guys supposed to kind of like come to your senses now
Mm-hmm.
and decide
how long is this like fantasy going to go?"
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
He was like, don't you need to at least kind of start to wind this down?
Mm-hmm.
You're spending all this time doing it, but this is not realistic. And just about that time, state laws in Texas changed.
Okay, so I want to pause real quick. So let's come back to state laws in Texas change in just a second.
Sure.
So one of the things that you've highlighted, which we talk about a lot on the podcast, is this, post, sort of career having a purpose.
Yeah.
Right. And so you witnessed how many years had your dad been retired when he came to you?
I mean, like probably 2 months.
2 months.
Like
okay.
very,
so
very
it was
short.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quick. So we see a lot of
boredom crisis.
A lot of times people, they do get bored. They don't have a purpose. They're, kind of, listless, if you will. They just don't have any direction. 2 months is pretty short, actually. So that's pretty good. So clearly he had some things in mind pre-retirement that he wanted to think about going and doing.
He's a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
He just wanted to keep rolling. He wanted to do something he enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that
so now he's 77.
77.
Yeah.
So, he's about straight.
And still going strong in terms of energy. And it's great because he's got purpose.
That's right.
He's got something he's passionate about.
He's loving it.
All right.
He's also actually retired.
Yeah.
He's discovered like gardening, working on his house, naps in the afternoon, all the things that you're supposed to do when you're retired. He actually does. But he's on our board. And prior to this, I mean, we used to talk maybe once a month or every other month or whatever. We literally talk every day.
That's awesome.
It's been the best thing that ever happened to us.
It's amazing. So, all right, let's go back. So you're 1 year in, laws in Texas change.
Okay.
Tell us what happens next.
Okay, so there's 4 laws that change. All of a sudden, someone can buy a bottle if they come to your distillery.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't legal before.
Okay.
You can let them drink it as well.
At the distillery. That was a new law.
Okay. There was a third new law which allowed for distilleries to sell bulk spirits to one another tax-free.
Okay.
Which is illegal prior. You couldn't sell it, and it wasn't. But they made it where you could sell it tax-free. So you could trade barrels of bourbon with other bourbon producers if you wanted to. And
so what's the significance of that?
In the bourbon industry, one of the biggest risks is forecast risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes so many years to make your product, you have the chances of your forecasts being correct are 0.
Yes.
There's a 0% chance that forecast is correct. It's either too low or it's too high.
Right. Spoken like a good economist.
It's true. And so because of that, in the Kentucky bourbon industry, there's 18 distilleries in Kentucky and Tennessee that make 99% of all bourbon made in the United States.
Okay.
And so you've got this very large concentration in a very few producers.
Okay. So there's 18 that produce 99%. Okay. And then how many distilleries are there in Kentucky and Tennessee?
There's these 18
So
large.
the other 1% is how many?
The other 1% today is about 3,000 distillers.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That puts it in perspective.
And now it's probably more like 95% of bourbon is produced. But at the time, it was like definitely 99%.
Yeah.
Everything is produced by these
all
large
brand names that we would all know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they had a long tradition of just making what they make, and then they trade barrels with each other. If your forecast was too low, you need some barrels. I've got some, and so it kind of provides the ability to
manage inventory,
manage inventory, and manage that asset. So so that was a third law, and the last one was what they call the industrial food law, which allowed you to put bourbon in barbecue sauce. And so these were the 4 laws that changed, and we thought, with these changes, it's going to make it a bit easier to start a destination distillery concept.
So again, you guys are 1 year in.
We're not even in. We're 1 year into goofing off.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You hadn't officially started yet.
We're officially goofing off at this point.
Okay.
And but the thing that we really saw was not just that there would be a chance of starting a craft distillery, but of a Texas whiskey category coming into existence.
Mm-hmm.
We have Kentucky bourbon, but the largest market, depending how you look at it, largest or second largest by volume, second largest by dollars market in the world for bourbon is Texas.
Okay.
Texans love bourbon.
Wow.
And The only reason there's not a big bourbon industry in Texas is until that time the legislature didn't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And Texans we love Texas.
Oh, we do.
We're very enthusiastic about our state. We love things that we make ourselves.
Yeah.
A lot of pride here. Texans love Texas. They will drink bad whiskey if it comes from Texas because they are that committed to Texas.
That's right.
We don't want that to happen to them. We want it to be very good, but we thought there's going to be an emergence of a Texas whiskey category.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of changed a little bit the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
We thought there's probably an opportunity for us to produce for ourselves and, just as they do in Kentucky, produce for other brands.
Mm-hmm.
So we could kind of have a little bit of risk mitigation. If our brand isn't successful, at least we can produce for other brands.
So at this point, like, in the beginning when Dad came to you and you did your feasibility study, whether that was a real thing or it was just in your head, you were like, here's all the reasons this is going to go wrong. Now you've goofed around for a year, you've explored for a year. How has that list gotten a lot shorter in terms of all the risks, or are you still fairly...
We began to really understand a lot of there's different types of outcomes for every risk.
Yeah.
And there's upside risk as well as downside risk.
Mm-hmm.
And so we built like what they call Monte Carlo simulation, which is
We know all about those.
Okay, so we built the simulation to kind of say, okay, what are the things we've really got to get focused on, and then what are the things that we really got to manage to be able to be super successful on the upside. And so we had a good on the downside. We knew that the power of the brand was very important, and if you didn't have a successful brand, you really were kind of left with your asset value, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, barrels of bourbon are, generally speaking, are an appreciating asset. Mm-hmm. And so if you produce barrels every day and they get older, they go up in value.
Right.
You kind of have a rising floor, if you will, for kind of what the negative outcome might look like.
Yeah.
And that is a good stopgap for protection of investor dollars. But you could still shoot for the moon. Mm-hmm. And so then we kind of got to realizing, like, what are the risk factors and important things on the brand side. Interestingly, the single most important factor on the upside, biggest factor influencing the value of the business 20 years in, how much you produce in year one.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Why is that?
It has to do with the if you don't make it, you can't sell it.
Yeah.
Everything that you make gets more valuable with time. Older bottles sell for more. Mm-hmm. And so the kind of going big in an interesting and inverted way reduces the risk.
Interesting.
On a venture like this. There's a lot of unusual things about this.
So do you have how many years have you been in production? 12? Is that right?
No, we had a year. We had a year of goofing off. It took 3 years to build the distillery.
Okay.
Then we produced for 2 years, and then had a year of kind of transition to get ready to launch the brand. Then we've been out in the market with our bourbon for the last 5 years.
Okay, so the bourbon you produced 5 years ago, do you have a bunch of inventory set back that you will release over time?
Yes.
As prices okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Generally speaking, the way that we do it is we produce as much as we possibly can. Early on, that was how much money do we have. Mm-hmm. Today, it's how many minutes do we have. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We never stop producing bourbon. And our biggest problem today is people love our whiskey, and they're drinking it like crazy.
Yeah.
And if they keep drinking it like this, we're going to run out. So we have to make more. So we're having to expand. We built, like, at the time, the largest distillery Texas had ever had.
Yeah.
Which we thought was that this is going to be so big, we'll never need
more
anymore. Now we need a bigger one.
Yeah.
So
you're in Austin. Where are you located in Austin?
South Congress and St. Elmo.
Okay.
So a couple of miles south of the Capitol.
Yeah.
We're in a really, really cool little neighborhood called the St. Elmo Arts District, which is all craft makers and artists. It's a really, really, really cool area, a lot of authenticity, a lot of creative reuse of the industrial buildings that are there, and it has a good amount of infrastructure because of its history.
Yeah.
So ended up being a good spot for us. When we first moved there, we had homeless people and potholes that your car could fall into. And so it was a very not good area.
Yeah.
But now 12 years later, it's looking a lot better.
Yeah.
Quickly, a lot of mid-rise housing development there now. And it's got a nice little mix of residential and industrial.
So will y'all expand there, or will you find another location?
We're going to expand there.
Yeah. And you mentioned before we went live that you're in a capital raise, about to finish a capital raise.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you funded or financed the business in the beginning, and then kind of where you are today from a financing perspective.
Sure. So we've had basically three, I guess this is four now, capital raises. The first one I would describe as two guys in a chart. There's me and my dad.
Yep.
We were those two guys.
Yep.
And we had these charts.
Yeah.
And people loved our charts. They were like, these are amazing charts.
Yeah.
They liked everything about them. That's all we had was the charts, nothing else. But
it was enough.
We were
apparently.
like, okay, let's. We were going to throw a little money into it, so we thought let's raise some money. This is going to be a something where we really wanted to spread the risk a good amount, and so we raised $1.5 million. Really. With just we had no employees, we didn't even have a location picked out yet.
Yeah.
We had nothing, so we had no expenses.
Yeah.
But we had $1.5 million in the bank account, basically, which helped us to kind of begin to plan a facility, which we were very confident from all the people that we talked to would cost at the most $2.5 million, and so $5 million later. We had an operational facility, and that was when we did our second capital raise because we thought, okay, we'd borrowed a little bit of money from the bank, and so we kind of gotten the facility to just about the time that it was in operation, and we wanted to make a lot of bourbon.
Yeah,
and so we did a second Series B offering. That was a bigger one, and we kind of did it in a couple tranches. All in all, it ended up being about $13 million in that round, and that gave us a good amount of money to just begin making a lot of appreciating assets.
Yeah. So bring us current now. Like how many? How much are you producing? How many distilleries are there in Texas?
Sure.
Where do you guys rank relative to other distilleries? And then I want to kind of then transition into the vision and the future and where we headed from here. So where are we today?
Today, this year we'll sell about 100,000 cases. We could do a lot more. But
how many bottles in a case? 12?
6. 600 case.
Okay.
So we always track Nielsen, which is they track scanner data. So what consumers are buying off the shelf. And in the world of whiskey, there's the more established like mega brands, Jack Daniel's, Jim Beam, and then there's the kind of emerging craft whiskeys. And we just define craft as anything that's been created since we started.
Yeah, right.
So some of them are kind of venture backed by a big guy. Some are truly like independent. But the main measure that we look at is what they call velocity. So how much do you sell per store?
Yeah.
And Still Austin currently sells more per store than any other craft whiskey in America.
Wow.
If we are on the shelf, we outsell everyone else.
Okay.
And so we're only in 5% of stores.
Right.
And so we've got a lot of expansion ahead of us. And our velocity is on par with brands that do 2 and 3 million cases. And so it's a very, very positive indication that people love our whiskey. And so the velocity is really, really, really.
So what would you attribute the velocity to? Like, is that marketing? Because you said, you had some early experience with branding, and is it marketing? Is it your blender, your maker, your what do you call
Master
it?
blender.
Thank you.
Nancy Fraley.
Thank you. Yeah, we were talking about Nancy earlier. Yes. So is it Nancy? Is it because it's really good? Is it all of the above? What do you think the the formula is. Yeah.
And every brand has its own way of growing, and it can be very different from brand to brand. But there's a couple things I think that are important. In our category of bourbon, when we first started, there was basically two types of bottles. Bottles that were white labels with black letters, or bottles with black labels that had white letters.
I can think of both of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was how innovative the packaging was.
Right.
And so we knew that there's this kind of dominant kind of rural Kentucky, Tennessee kind of vibe that maybe there's an opportunity for differentiation, a strong point of differentiation. We also I think this is kind of something that we underappreciated. We knew it, but we didn't really appreciate it. What we knew at the time was most of the growth that was happening in the bourbon industry was from, this is going back 12 years ago, was from millennial aged people. They love bourbon, but they were not really embracing the Kentucky lifestyle. They're not moving there. They don't want to live in rural, Tennessee. That's just not what they want.
Right.
But they love Austin.
Yeah.
They actually do. And that's why Austin's been such a fast-growing city for the last 20 years. The Austin lifestyle is something that this younger demographic relates to.
Yeah.
We also knew quality, flavor, authenticity, these are extraordinarily important. And the expression of that from the Kentucky producers that dominate the industry was how old the product is, which is almost a hedge around the industry to kind of keep people from being able to get in, because you have to put so much money in and wait so long before you can finally have a product ready to sell.
Right.
And a story of longstanding tradition. We have 200 years of bourbon history. So we had to kind of somehow overcome that as well. So our ways of doing that, a couple things I think were important. One, I think in terms of overcoming the tradition and history of Kentucky style, that though we have about 200 years of bourbon history in Kentucky, there's actually about over 360 years of Scotch history. And if you go across the channel, cognac, we've been training and learning from a distillery called Frappen. Last year we were there learning a little bit some of their techniques, and so last year was their 752nd year of continuous production under one family.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then if you start to go into Armagnac, which is the oldest aged distilled spirit in the world, made in Gascony and kind of southern France. It has distilleries that date back at least 950 years. So it's a much older tradition. They use a philosophy called élevage, which means to raise, like raising your kids.
Yeah.
Or raising like a herd of cattle. It's like the idea of like caring for and helping something to get to its best maturity. It's a process that's much more hands-on. In Kentucky, they kind of mastered the hands-off technique. Don't do anything with it. Let it sit there forever. But
sounds about like Kentucky, right?
It's hands-on. And along the way, we met Nancy Fraley.
Yeah.
And Nancy has actually won more awards for her whiskey than anybody worldwide. If you win enough awards for your whiskeys, you can be invited to train in cognac. If you become an accomplished brandy maker, you can become an expert as well in Armagnac.
Yeah.
Or what they refer to as the musketeers of Armagnac.
Okay.
But these traditions are much older and much more quality driven.
Yeah.
than what's done in Kentucky.
Sure.
We do a lot of techniques around the way that we reduce the bourbon. It's done very slowly. So like literally, like we've got about 17,000 barrels under management now, but we'll take them off the rack. They're all palletized, but we'll take them down, and every so often we'll open them, add a little bit of water, close it, and let it continue to mature. And we'll do that multiple times.
And where did you meet Nancy?
Nancy, we met when Dad and I were in our goofing off phase. We took a class from Nancy on how to master blend and how to nose for faults. We were like, oh, we definitely need to be able to nose for faults. Let's do that.
And where was she teaching this class?
She taught one of them we took a class with her in Gig Harbor, Washington.
Okay.
And then that was just organized by the American Distilling Institute.
Okay.
She's like their head of research. And then we took a second one that was in Seattle. And so we just kind of had... I fell in love with her right off. And I thought she just really knows her stuff. And I told my dad, like you take these classes and then by the time that you're done, you start to realize that,
how little you know.
Right. Exactly.
How much you don't know.
Just how much you actually need her to be on your team. And so
that's the whole point of the class, by the way. Yeah.
So, and she didn't have a full-time gig at the time. And so I was like, Nancy, I'm super impressed with you. You know so much about what you're doing. And we're wanting to make something very special in Texas. I really want you to join our team. And she said, no.
Yeah.
And so nothing like telling someone no to make them
want more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I asked her to consult with us, and she agreed to, and she laid out a plan for us. But the plan was part of why it took 3 years to build the distillery.
Yeah.
She told us that all of the grain needs to come from Texas. It needs to be, you need to have a sense of like its terroir. And she introduced us to Mike Delavante, who had so much distilling experience. She was like, he needs to design the distillery. He had at the time 53 years of distilling experience.
So she was a paid consultant for you guys at this point.
She's a paid consultant.
Yeah.
And so she kind of laid out a plan for us. And then we really got fortunate because like once we built the distillery, she had talked, it's kind of like this art.
It may have been a little bit of a test, right? Like where she says, hey, here's the plan, you guys go execute. And she's watching you execute. And if you execute according to, quote, her plan, like it's your plan, but it's her plan, then her confidence grows with each step, each commitment you guys make.
I wouldn't put it past her. I would not put it past her. 100%.
This is what I see. This is what I see going on. She's like, I'm going to watch these guys for a little while and let's see how serious they are, if they're really just dabblers. And
Nancy's very nice, but she's very tough.
Yeah.
And she has really high standards.
Yeah. Sounds like
so. I think she needed a little time, but when she came to visit the distillery for the first time when we got it built, I asked her to do a quality control, which was basically like my way of trying to get her to join us 100%.
Right.
And so when she came, like she talked to us about like the terroir is not just the taste of the place, but also a sense of the people that you come from.
Right.
And that can only really come across in the quality of what you make. And so when she came out, it was like, Nancy, I'd like for you to meet the children of our farmers. And just tried to flex a little bit, get her very excited.
Pull on the heartstrings a little,
Exactly.
Pull on some emotion,
we were very fortunate that she agreed to work with us and really put us in a position to really create something that really exceeds the quality of anything that's made in the United States today.
So is she blending for anybody else or just you guys?
She does blend for a few other folks.
Yeah.
Really just to kind of keep her skills sharp and her mind open.
Yeah.
But we are essentially 99% of Nancy Fraley's focus.
Are you her only Texas Distillery?
Yes, we are.
Brand? Okay.
Yes. Although I know that she has a lot of people come to her, and she's very open.
Yeah.
And she's worked with other distillers here in Texas before. But currently, I know that we are her only.
So go back to terroir a second. If I said that right. So Kentucky versus Texas. Like if I'm truly, if I know my whiskeys and I'm, tasting a lot, what am I going to taste? What's the difference going to be between a Kentucky bourbon and a Texas bourbon?
Well,
what's going to show up for me?
So there's a couple things that are very important. One is the grain base is very different. We in Kentucky they use a lot of yellow corn.
Yeah,
that's what they have in the Ohio Valley, and in Texas we have a Tex-Mex culture.
Okay,
we eat a lot of corn chips.
Yeah,
mainly made from white corn. We've never had a tortilla shortage.
Yeah,
we've always had it here, thankfully.
Yeah,
and so our grain base is a little milder. The white corn tends to be a little bit more sweet naturally.
Yeah.
There's no sweetening added to our whiskey, but just naturally it tends to be a little more sweet and a little less corny, if you will. We also work with a variety of rye in our bourbon that's called Brassetto. It's a bread rye, and it's very delicious. It's a very sustainable crop as well.
Also produced in Texas?
Yes, all of our grains are grown.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yes, here in Texas, and all grown by family-owned farms.
Yeah.
So no corporate farming. It's all family-owned. And those are like the bases of the terroir, but the weather, and I think maybe most importantly, the passion. The weather affects the bourbon in its maturation.
Yeah.
So every time it gets warm, the whiskey will get, as it warms up inside the barrel, it will expand and kind of press into the oak. And then when it cools off, it will contract and it'll bring with it some of the qualities from the oak. And so
if are you not aging in a temperature controlled?
No,
Okay.
no. Nothing is climate controlled.
Okay.
It's all in barrel warehouses that are not climate controlled. They're ventilated, but not climate controlled.
Okay.
And that's very important. And for you want this cycle of heat and cool. And if you think about like the climate of Scotland versus say the climate of Kentucky versus the climate of Texas,
right?
A lot more cycles of heat and cool here than you do Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotches tend to be maybe 10, 12, 14 years aged. It takes a long time. When it drops below about 40 degrees, the barrel goes completely dormant. Cold winters, warm summers in Kentucky. In Texas, cold mornings, hot day. You can have like a lot more fluctuations. You have a lot more cycles of heat and cool. And in the first Texas whiskeys that ever came out, that resulted in those cycles of heat and cool having an over-extraction of oak tannin from the barrels, which made them taste, many of them, like a number 2 pencil or an ashtray. Things that we don't like drinking. And they really were not particularly spectacular. So I think the passion is the other piece that really kind of comes in. How do you, in a, if you got 200 years of Kentucky history in Texas, when we started this, we had like a solid 3 or 4 years of making whiskey in Texas. So it's a very, very young, unproven climate. How do we make things that exceed the quality of what is made in Kentucky or Tennessee? And for us, the answer to that was to look to people who had been doing this not for hundreds of years, but for dozens of generations. Where they have the ability to fine tune and bring out the nuance of the flavor of the local terroir. What are the techniques that can lead to spirits that are very soft, not overly tannic, soft, round, and have a gentle finesse.
Yeah.
They take you on a journey.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so I think you have to have that combination of like independence, passion, and understanding that our climate is completely different than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And a commitment to not looking to Kentucky for inspiration.
Right.
Look to ourselves, who we are as people, and be extremely independent and proud in that.
Which we generally are as Texans.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
let's with the last few minutes we have, let's talk about what's next for you guys. Where are you headed? What's the future look like? Are you going to try to build the brand and then sell it to, some big roll up, of spirits, or do you guys want to stay independent and create, sort of a family legacy? What is sort of what's the current?
We're very, very open about it. So everybody who works for the distillery is a co-owner in it.
How many people is that?
We have 78 people who work for us. And we have about, if you can believe it, about 400 investors, all business owners. No strategics in us because we want to stay completely independent and be able to do what we want. Where we are right now, because we are wanting to build something that is of significance culturally to who we are as Texans, we want to do something that has a longer term plan. We're only fully distributed in 4 states, and we're doing extraordinarily well. So we need to make more whiskey. So we've developed a long term plan. It's a 100-year plan. We've signed a 100-year lease, and we'll be staying where we are for the next 100 years. I'm not going beyond 100 years. Someone else will have to do that. But I am at least going to focus on this first 100. And in this 100 years, what we really want to do is develop a lot of the more advanced techniques that can... What people say about us today is we are the best whiskey to come out of Texas.
Yeah.
We are totally not satisfied with that.
Yeah.
We are totally not satisfied with that. What we want to do is really elevate what Texas is. And so we to do that, we need to have both wet cellars and dry cellars. We have to have, there's a lot of things that we have to be able to establish, and time. We need a lot of time. We do want to eventually sell, to answer your question. We have 16 full-time salespeople. Diageo, which is another larger supplier than us, has 16,000. So they're a little bit bigger than us. They can sell a little bit more whiskey than we can. And in general, to really become a global brand, especially in the bourbon space or aged spirit space, you really do have to be part of a more cooperative approach where you've got a large sales force that is selling a variety of a larger portfolio.
Right.
And so everybody on our team brings their very best every day and works extremely hard. They flex.
Yeah.
They love to show you what they can do. And our goal really is to, and we've already kind of built the most successful Texas whiskey ever. And so we've already far exceeded.
You've done that. Check that box.
Check one. We want to give a sense of who we are as people. And you can see that on the art. We work with all local Texas artists that with our flagship products, they're portraits that give a sense of the people that we come from. And then for our higher end products, they capture the seasons of Texas, our Texas terroir. And so we want to continue to lean into that, really innovate, elevate, and be able to, what we found is every time we release a more expensive whiskey, people just rush for it. And so, but we need it to be incredible quality. So we want to continue to shock the world with the quality of what we make. And then I think at the right time, we will sell the business and probably all stay on and continue with it. It's more of a change of ownership than it is a change in the focus. But it's designed to be intrinsically an expression of us. And everything that inspires us, everything we aspire to be, is all kind of pulled together in a mythology that we tell with our whiskeys.
Incredible. Chris, thank you so much. This has been an incredible chat.
Scott, thank you very much.
It's great to learn about Still Austin Whiskey Company, and hopefully we'll get down to see you guys in Austin. And I love the story. I love the connection with you and your dad, and how this just started as a crazy idea. And so many entrepreneurial stories start this way. I think a lot of people, when they start a venture, they think, oh, I have to have all the answers. I've got to know how this puzzle fits together and see how everything comes together. And the reality is, you just got to get started. You just got to go to that first tasting and visit the first distillery and just start having conversations and go to a blending class, and it starts to come together.
Don't stop.
I love your story, and we're just really appreciative to have you on Decision Points.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
I'm very,
Chris.
very happy to be here.
Thank you.